Hello to my favorite kids, Cleo, Sterling, Roman, James, and Winnie. Okay, today we are going to hear a story about two bad guys. There's two bad guys in this, TWO bad guys. And not too many other people. Not too TWOO many other people, but there are two bad guys. A snake and a, what's the other bad guy? Who? Is he a lizard? We'll find out. Okay, so today was one day that it looked like it was going to rain, but I'm happy to say that it did not rain on me today. So yes, it was a pretty good day. All right, today the story is about little creatures, except there is one big bad guy in it. And I am going to be reading this. Don't think there's a dog in it, but I am not sure. Let's see. I think the frog is a he, and I think he can sit outside. I see him laying down by the beach, and he wanted to go in the water. But frogs usually can jump up. So I will be reading about Flexy Frog. And I saw Sterling the other day, and we were looking at this book. He was looking at it with me. So he is a little familiar with this, because he and I looked through all the pictures and read the story, but I'm sure you would love to hear it again. So, I love all of you, and I am ready to read this story. Now, what, W-H-A-T, what is this book? B-O-O-K, book. I-T, is a story, S-T-O-R-Y, about, A-B-O-U-T, the fantastic Flexy Frog. He's a super pet, and he is pretty fantastic. So let's turn here so we can read it together. All right, here's our picture of our good guys and their pets and the villains and their pets. So today's story is The Fantastic Flexy Frog. And this book is starring Plastic Frog and Anaconda, Dr. Spider, and Croc. And Plastic Man is the good guy. 3 chapters. So, first we're going to meet Plastic Frog. He is a Flexy Frog. He's from Costa Rica. We don't know how old he is. His favorite food is fruit flies. This fearless amphibian goes to great lengths in fighting crime, always bouncing back for more. And his superhero owner is Plastic Man. Now, here we have the enemy file. Here we have Dr. Spider, who has an evil mind and a pocket protector. Anaconda, who is mouthy, means she likes to talk a lot, talk trash a lot, Ultra strong. And their supervillain owner is Croc. I guess he's a crocodile, but he looks more like a lizard to me. But he's pretty big. Here's our frog. He's pretty big. Our frog is very flexy, and he's funny. So, Chapter 1. Gone Away Lagoon. The sun was shining brightly above the beaches of Costa Rica. The sky was blue and the sand was gold, and Plastic Man was turning bright red. His face and his hands and his legs were starting to match his superhero uniform. Oh, but he didn't care. What a perfect day, said Plastic Man, and a perfect vacation spot. And a perfect sunburn, added Plastic Frog. Zing! His fingers stretched around their chair and pointed at his friend's face. The little Flexy Frog and Plastic Man both had the same powers. They could flex their body into amazing shapes. No problemo, said Plastic Man. I'd just reach into my hotel room for more suntan lotion. Ouch! Plastic Man stretched out his arm, but he got a surprise. It hurt to move. Plastic Frog didn't say anything. He sipped on his tropical juice drink, wearing his big hat and sunglasses. He was enjoying his time away from fighting crime. Plastic Man stretched his foot into a big umbrella to shield himself from the hot sun. Ouch, 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 he cried. He's stretching his arm, stretching his foot. Let me help, said Plastic Frog, and he stretched his arm far over the beach. It stretched past the sunbathers and rows of beach umbrellas. It stretched all the way to their hotel room, reaching the room on the third floor, grabbed a bottle of sunscreen, and zing! His hand quickly zipped back. Plastic Frog held the lotion out to Plastic Man. Ouch! It hurts, Plastic Man, even to touch that bottle. Maybe I better go inside, but just for a while. He stood up from his lounge chair. See you poolside, Plasty, he said, ouch, 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 as he walked painfully to the hotel. Oh, what a perfect day, said Plastic Frog. Bzzzt! A fly went by overhead, and what did he do with his plastic tongue? Stuck out his tongue. And zapped the fly. Plastic Frog's tongue stretched out, and he nabbed that insect. The Super Frog smiled. I know I should wait half an hour after eating, but I think it's time for another dip. Besides stretching and flexing, the little amphibian was an expert at swimming. Plastic Frog removed his sombrero and his sunglasses and took one last sip of his juice drink. Then he rubbed his hands together, bent his knees, and jumped towards the water. Flunk! Ouch! Plastic Frog hit a pile of wet sand. Oof, he said. What's going on? He looked around and saw other swimmers wondering the same thing. The water was gone. They were all standing in a big, empty, muddy hole. What happened to Costa Rica's famous lagoon? Plastic Frog wondered. He was wiping mud from his head when he saw footprints in the sand. He zoomed his eyeballs in for a closer look. Those prints belong to that creepy croc, he said. That rotten reptile must have something to do with this missing water. Oh, boy. Plastic Frog looked back at his hotel. Plastic Man was not in top crime-fighting condition right now, and he couldn't use his stretchy powers because of his painful sunburn. The stretchy frog flexed his legs and arm. He'd have to take care of the crooked crocodile criminal all by himself. So I guess that croc is a crocodile. Zoom! Plastic Frog disappeared into a nearby forest with a powerful jump. Look at that, he jumped all the way over there. That's the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 2, Tricks and Traps. Plastic Frog bounced through the thick trees and stretched out his long legs and pushed high into the air with each jump. Boing! As he followed Croc's trail, Plastic Frog kept his eyes open. He knew that the rainforest could be dangerous. He had grown up in a forest just like this many years ago. When he was still a young frog, he liked to climb, and one day, during a tropical storm, Plastic Frog climbed up a very tall tree, a rubber tree. The rain had poured down and the thunder had boomed. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning sizzled through the air. Crack! The bolt struck the rubber tree. Somehow the lightning, the rubber, and the little frog's slimy skin all got mixed up together. And ever since that day, Plastic Frog was able to stretch his body to amazing lengths. As soon as he met Plastic Man, the two of them started fighting crime together, just like today. As he bounced along, Plastic Frog asked himself, why would Croc steal lagoon water? The crocodile's trail vanished into a wide, muddy river. Plastic Frog hopped over and stretched his neck above the water for a closer look. Well, why didn't he steal this water too? Plastic Frog wondered. Chomp! A fish jumped up at Plastic Frog, its mouth wide open. Then more and more fish jumped out of the water, straight at Stretchy Frog. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Look at these fish jumping up. All the fish's mouths were full of deadly teeth. They were piranhas. The super pet was startled. He began to lose his balance. Quickly, the Flexy Frog stretched his body into a wide sail. The wind puffed against his body and lifted him high above the fearsome fish. And the breeze took him to the other side of the river. Croc only pretended to go in the water, said Plastic Frog. I have to be more careful about his tricks. Plastic Frog continued through the forest, and he found Croc's trail again. This time it led through a thick grove of trees. Yellow blossoms and bright red berries hung from the branches. Plastic Frog was getting hungry. I should have finished my juice drink, he thought. Then Plastic Frog heard a funny sound. Zip! A dart zoomed past his ear. Dartberry trees. Oh, I've heard about these when I was just a tadpole. Zip, zap, zoop. More and more the darts shot from the bright berries. Plastic Frog was surrounded. One poke from a single tip, and Plastic Frog knew he would fall asleep for days. The Stretchy Frog used his bendy body to dodge the deadly darts. Up and down he stretched and dipped and dived and twisted and turned. Look at that. Whew, that was hard for him to do. Hey, I haven't played with darts for a long time, he said. When all the berries were empty of darts, Plastic Frog collapsed on the ground. Oof, I'll bet Croc crawled through here on purpose, he thought, trying to catch his breath. Plastic Frog spotted more footprints on the ground. They led to a dark cave. The amphibian figured it must be the crook's hideout. Snap! His legs and arms snapped back into shape. Now I'm ready for that water snatcher, he said. Carefully, Plastic Frog crept into the cave. It was quiet and cool. He could see a light at the far end of the tunnel. A familiar voice echoed through the cave. Plastic Frog knew right away it belonged to Croc. Oh, we'll be millionaires! We'll be billionaires! Then a slithery voice said, "No, we'll be bazillionaires." Plastic Frog stretched forward on his silent, rubbery feet. Took him only one step to reach the end. Then he stretched his head around the opening. There was Croc, and next to him was the longest, biggest snake Plastic Frog had ever seen. Ooh. There's Croc, and there's that snake, Anaconda. Growing up in the rainforest, Plastic Frog knew that snakes and frogs were enemies. The giant serpent and Croc were looking at a row of glass bottles in all different shapes and sizes. "People will pay us plenty for these," said Croc, chuckling. "Crazy," thought Plastic Frog. "He's crazy. Those bottles are empty." Croc and the snake had their backs to Plastic Frog. The superhero knew this was his chance. Zoing! He bounced towards the two crooks, and he stretched out his arm to grab them, but boing! Plastic Frog froze in midair. He couldn't move. Croc turned to look at him. The crook laughed an evil laugh. Ha ha! End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3, Web of Evil. Plastic Frog was trapped in a huge spider web. The strings of the web were as thin as wire. They were almost invisible. A giant spider floated down from the ceiling of the room. He was wearing a lab coat and thick glasses. That sounds like Mr. Spider. Let's see. There he is. "I told you my trap would work," the spider said to Croc, "just in case anyone followed you from the lagoon." Croc smiled. "You certainly did, Dr. Spider. And now no matter how Plastic Frog stretches, he can't escape." It was true. When Plastic Frog tried to stretch his arms and legs, the spider web stretched with him, and the web was so gooey he could only stretch a little. Then he would snap back to his normal size. He was stuck good. "Why did you steal the water from the lagoon?" Plastic Frog demanded. "That's not all I stole," said the evil reptile. "Do you see these bottles? This one is the Gulf of Mexico. Here is the Panama Canal, and these two over here hold the Amazon River." "You're crazy," Plastic Frog said. "Those bottles are empty." The huge snake hissed. "They only seem empty," she said. "The water has been turned into steam." "I call it spider vapor," said Dr. Spider, and he wiggled over to a machine in the middle of the room. "It's my own invention," he said. "This vaporizer lets me turn any body of water into a little cloud. Then Croc and Anaconda here can capture the cloud in one of my special bottles." Ooh. "Soon," said Croc, "I will own the oceans and rivers of the world. And the humans will pay me anything I want to get them back." "Ha, ha, ha. You mean we will own them," said Mr. Spider. Anaconda looked at the Plastic Frog. Her tongue flickered in and out of her wide mouth. "I'm going to need a little snack," she said. "Not so fast," said Dr. Spider. "I need you to handle one more bottle for me, the biggest one yet, for the Pacific Ocean. That's the largest body of water in the world. After that, we'll be finished." "Then we can start cashing in on my plan," said Croc. "You mean my plan," said Dr. Spider coldly. "It was my suggestion," hissed Anaconda. "Those greedy goons," thought Plastic Frog. "While they're arguing, I need to get free. But how?" The web was too sticky, and his arms and legs were stuck tight. Plastic Frog did not want to end up as a snake snack. His stomach growled. The thought of food made him hungry. "I knew I should have finished that juice box," he told himself. That furry fly was not enough. Fly? Of course, that's the answer. That's how he could escape. The one part of his body that was not trapped by the web was his powerful tongue. Zing! The frog's rubbery tongue zoomed out, sailed over the heads of the arguing crooks. It grabbed onto the far end of the room. See, there he is with his tongue. Then Plastic Frog used his tongue to pull his whole body towards the wall. Inch by inch, Plastic Frog pulled himself forward. The web sticking to him was pulled too. The web stretched tighter and tighter, and then Plastic Frog let go. Boing! The web flipped loose. Plastic Frog was launched like a stone in a slingshot. Do we have a picture of that? Well, we do. Look at that. That's a pretty cool picture. There he is flying through the air. Plastic Frog sailed free of the sticky web. Then he stretched out his arms and grabbed onto the machine. "Stop that do-gooder," croaked Croc. All three crooks jumped at the frog. His bendy body slipped free, and Anaconda reached towards him. Plastic Frog kept twisting round and around the machine. The snake followed him, round and around, faster and faster, then zwing! The dizzy snake couldn't catch the frog. When the super pet stopped twisting, the snake was tied in a dozen knots around the machine. "Don't move," Croc shouted at Anaconda. "You'll destroy my machine." "My machine," said Dr. Spider. "Don't worry," said Plastic Frog. "I'll be the one to destroy your machine. But before I do, it has one last job." Plastic Frog launched into the vaporizer's control, and he flipped a switch. And the terrible trio all shouted. Plastic Frog grabbed an empty bottle that was supposed to hold the Pacific Ocean, opened the lid. 3 clouds of steam were sucked inside. The villains were trapped and turned into vapor by their own evil machine. Look at that. There's Croc, and Anaconda, and Dr. Spider. They were turned into vapor by their own machine. And he got them caught in that bottle. That Plastic Frog's pretty smart. Plastic Frog flexed his arms and stared at the clouds inside the bottle. "You guys need to cool off," he said. "You look a little steamed." Plastic Frog returned to his hotel. Hours later, he and Plastic Man, who had recovered from his sunburn, returned the bodies of water to their rightful places. They stretched across deserts and mountains and cities to restore the stolen liquid. Oh, there they are. But Plastic Frog kept the bottle that held Croc and his companions. Soon Plastic Frog and Plastic Man were stretched out on chairs by the lagoon again. This time, Plastic Man was wearing extra sunscreen. "Ah, this is the perfect vacation spot," said Plastic Man. "Yeah," agreed Plastic Frog as he sipped on a juice spot, and he looked at the bottle next to him. "It's a real gas." Ha ha ha. The end. Because steam is a gas, and vapor is a gas. That was his joke. All right, that's the end of that story. So here are our good guys. We have read a lot of these Super Pet books. And the bad guys. Where is Croc? Where are you, Croc? That's Frankie. That's a big Croc. That's so big. He's maybe an alligator. I can't find Croc right now. But we know he was a bad guy in our story today. He's a big bad guy, too. But our good guy was a frog. Where's our frog? Where are you, Flexy? Here are our insects from the other day. Well, Flexy, I can't find you. Oh, are you Flexy? Yeah, that's a plastic frog there. Okay. All right. And no jokes today. Amphibian is a cold-blooded animal that with a backbone that is able to live both on land and in water, such as a frog, toad, or salamander. A piranha is a small, flesh-eating South American freshwater fish. It has very sharp teeth. Rainforest is a dense tropical forest where a lot of rain falls. A reptile is a cold-blooded, air-breathing animal with a backbone. Reptiles usually lay eggs and have skin covered with scales. That crocodile is a reptile. Sombrero is a straw hat with a wide brim, often worn in Mexico. Tropical has to do with hot, rainy areas. And vapor is a device that turns water into a gas. Vaporizer. So, oh boy, we have read most of these books. And that's the end of our story for today. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's story about Flexy Frog. Love you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.